congratulations, first of all, for the Jeremy Swayman interview that you had.
Thank you. Yeah.
Jeremy Swayman, explain to everyone what the now that it's clear cut number one goaltender for the Bruins. Explain what's going on with his contract situation to give people a little background, if you would.
Yeah, so he's still an RFA. He still needs to sign his contract. The Bruins opted, and Swayman for that matter, opted to let an arbitration deadline pass, meaning that there will not be an arbitration here like there was a year ago. The Bruins never looked at arbitration as an option. They were basically saying like, no, that we're not going to do that again because of all the nastiness that kind of came out of it. And so he remains unsigned right now. He needs to sign, and we're a long way from this, I know. He needs to sign by December 1st, or he can't play this year. But I don't think that's going to happen, first of all. But so this is kind of where they are right now. So unless another team comes by with an offer sheet, which is probably not going to happen, and if they do, they'd be negotiating for the Bruins, and they'll take that because the Bruins are going to match whatever offer sheet happens. They're kind of waiting in limbo right now. This is very reminiscent of 2017 when David Pastrnak was an RFA. And if you remember back then, he signed on the first day of camp. So I think we're kind of trending towards something similar here, to be honest with you. But right now, you're kind of in a holding pattern, and both sides have time on their side right now in terms of like the Bruins can dig in and say, no, you're a $7 million goalie. And Swayman's camp can dig in and say, no, he's a $9 million goalie. And then you'll eventually meet in the middle and you'll get a deal done. But right now it's August. There's nothing going on. Half the league is on vacation. And so I think that that's why you're kind of in this holding pattern right now. But both sides know a deal is going to get done. It's just a matter of who blinks first right now.
All right. What's the market for a starting goaltender? What's Swayman, in your opinion, looking at?
Well, if you look at sort of the recent contracts here, the upper echelon goalies are making between 8.5 million. UC Saros in Nashville is just below that. Now he's a little bit older. He's 29, so that may affect him in terms of his bottom line. The money per year, but I think 8 to 8.5 is where he should be. If you look at where he's projecting and where he's going, I mean, Ilya Sorokin is 8.25. Connor Hellebuck, I believe, is 8.5. So if you get paid at least 8 million, you're in that top 5, top 6 range, which is where I do think he projects. If you were asking me right now, like where does he rank? I'd say he's probably the 6th best goalie in hockey. And then when you get beyond like the big 3, Vasilevsky, Shesterkin, Hellebuck, like it kind of becomes all right, what do you prefer? Do you prefer size, athleticism, upside, consistency, all of that? And so I think he's definitely in the top 6. I think he's 5 or 6 personally, but when you're that highly rated, among the league and among your peers and your recognition, like you're going to get paid. And so I think that's kind of, upper echelon starting goalies, I think are going to be making 8 million, 7.75 on the low end. So I think anywhere, if the Bruins can get a deal on him, I think it'd be probably 7.5, maybe a touch below, but I think somewhere between 7.5 and 8.5 is kind of where you're looking right now for this next contract.
Does cap space factor into any of this? I mean, different websites have different amounts that the Bruins have available, but they want to leave some wiggle room too.
It looks like I've looked at 3, John, so I'm very well versed.
Yes, I saw 8.5 last
8.5
night, so.
seems kind of like what the consensus is. Does that seem kind of correct to you?
That does. And yeah, first of all, this is unrelated. This is unrelated to mostly what we're talking about, but RIP Cap Friendly. Oh my God, we miss that website every day.
I know.
Yes.
I was just thinking that
too. Yep.
They organized capfriendly.com was the NHL salary cap, and they organized things in
grid
such a way.
system was perfect.
Someone's got to copy the grid system because Sport Track ain't handling it.
Puckpedia is pretty good. That's close as I can get to it.
But you guys nailed it. It's the visual of it all. It's all so messy. I hit one button. Now I'm looking at minor league players. I'm like, I don't want this. I don't need this. This is not what's important to me. So
Sport Track is better than Puckpedia. Okay, I'll tell you that right now. Okay.
Yeah. Neither is perfect, but yeah, I would agree with that. So yeah, it's about 8.5, give or take. I mean, they can maneuver and bring up some guys or send some guys down, and have a sliver here or there, and maybe add up to 8 to 8.6 or depending on what you do with Corpusalo, it could be up to 9, I believe. So, Yeah, it seems like it's all, like Jeremy Swayman is the last piece of business for them this offseason. They have everybody else assigned. I don't see them making another move outside of a PTO. And if you sign a PTO guy, typically it's for league minimum. So, like, this is it. Like, once they sign Swayman, they're done. Like, this is their roster for better or worse. I think they're going to wait until the season starts to maybe trade for a forward. If you want to make a deal at the deadline for a winger, I think that's kind of where they're going to trend. But I would say that, like, he's the last piece of business. And if you look at the cap space, it's sort of all, they don't want it to be all, but it's all earmarked for Swayman. Like, that is the sort of the last domino to fall here. And I think having $8.6 million in space, like, that's how you get that done. It's just, you don't want it to be all of that space, but it's going to be around that. I think it's going to be around 8.2. And it really is about building around that. But I think they've done a good job of leaving enough space to get him signed.
Right. So
I don't think he's going to make more than that.
Right. Very good. Okay. So when you talked to him, how did he come off to you? He was pissed off at him last year about the arbitration.
That's what I was going to ask. I was kind of surprised to find out that, I mean, no one likes to go through arbitration, but he wasn't the starting goaltender in the playoffs 2 years ago. That was still Ullmark's job. So how pissed was he about that? And do you think he had a right to be?
Well, I think arbitration is just naturally messy because it's you walk in with a number, and then the team spends 45 minutes saying you're actually not that good and you kind of suck and you smell kind of bad too. I'm just saying, like they tear you down in arbitration. It's not a fun thing to go through. This year's different, and I actually asked him about that. I said, "How are you doing mentally this year versus a year ago, knowing how miserable that was?" And he said he's in a better place. He's getting older. Experience is the greatest teacher of all, and he's he's not worried. And this is why it's funny to me because I feel like the only people worried about this contract getting done are Bruins fans, Bruins media, talking heads. We're all sitting here going, "Why is this not done? Why are we still waiting?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's gonna get done." It's really interesting, sort of that split there, personality wise. But I do think that. He is confident, he is calm. I think that's his kind of natural demeanor. He always tries to kind of convey that image, but I do think it's legit. And I do think he spent the entire summer in Boston so far. He doesn't want to go anywhere else. And it's not like in 2015 when Dougie Hamilton straight up wasn't returning the GM's calls. It wasn't like 2009 when nobody can get through to Phil Kessel. He's here. He wants to be here. And it's just a matter of finding the landing spot. But I do think it's been really interesting that he didn't go home. And right now he's working with Bruins trainers and strength and conditioning staff. And he's on the ice at Warrior. It doesn't seem acrimonious at all, which is a change from last year for sure.
All right. Well, Ty Anderson, what are the plans now? You going back to bed?
Yeah, but it's not gonna take. I know it's not gonna, and then I'm just gonna be tired all day. And I blame you. I love you guys, but I blame you, and it's all right. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I might eat breakfast now. I do that thing now where I wake up starving, and it's miserable. I hate it.
All right. Well, Ty.
Wow.
I hope you can navigate the day.
Goodness.
I mean, you go to McDonald's, they serve breakfast for another 3.5 hours.
It's all downhill from here, apparently.
Even if I get all the sleep I need, I can never navigate a day. I'm a nightmare. I'm an absolute nightmare person. It's terrible.
Well, you sat down with Jeremy Swayman, and that was good. All right. Ty Anderson, read his articles up at 985thesportshub.com. Thank you, Ty.
Anytime, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, appreciate it. Real quick, if you like that clip, check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. For more Bruins analysis and opinion, hit this playlist.